Hi kids, it's Miss Janell, and I first of all want to tell you how very much that we miss seeing you on Sundays, and we are all staying home and staying safe, and so we miss you very much, and we are going to record your Sunday lessons on this, and you can watch it with your moms and dads, and then hopefully you can have a discussion with them. So if you remember, when we walk into the classroom on the chalkboard, we always have our affirmation. And this week's affirmation is, I am calm and patient in all that I do. So say that with me. We're going to say it 3 times, okay? And I am calm and patient in all that I do. And let's do it one more time. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath and blow it out. And say it with me. I am calm and patient in all that I do. So I'm going to read you the story just like I would do sitting on the rug. So we're going to have circle time, and we're going to circle around the rug right now. And we are going to have gone through our name song, and maybe we've shaken the glitter jar and done the chimes, and everybody is calm. And now I'm going to read the story, okay? The story this week is called The Tiger's Whisker. Meecha was glad to be going home. She had traveled with her mother to visit her aunt and uncle in a distant village. Her aunt had many children, and Meecha was tired of the noise and the constant activity of all of her little cousins. At home, she was an only child, and she could have peace and quiet. Her mother had been very quiet and thoughtful during most of their 3-day journey, but Meecha had filled the silence with her own chatter. As they came within sight of her village, her mother stopped and looked at Meecha. Your aunt needs our help. I have arranged for your youngest cousin to come live with us when rice harvest begins. I don't know how long he'll stay. Her mother's eyes were kind, but her voice was firm. There would be no argument. Meecha was horrified. Her youngest cousin was the one she was happiest to leave. He tore through the house like a wild animal. He broke everything he touched, and he screamed louder than any child she ever knew. She couldn't remember one happy moment with him, even when she said goodbye. He had pulled her hair and stepped on her toes when she tried to give him a hug. He was now going to live in her house. Once they arrived at home, Meecha couldn't even enjoy the quiet. Thoughts of her cousin filled her mind. Her friends were sympathetic, but they didn't seem to have any escape. Then, in the middle of the night, she had an idea. At dawn, she took her small bag of money from a secret place, and she ran to see the healer who lived in their village. She told the healer the whole story. I want a potion that will make my cousin nice, said Meecha, and she poured her bag of money onto the table. I know just the potion you need, said the healer, but it requires a very special ingredient that I do not have. You must obtain a tiger's whisker, or I cannot help you, the healer explained. Meecha was dismayed. How would she get a tiger's whisker? But this was her only hope, so she couldn't give up easily. She stopped by the market to buy meat and inquire about any known tiger dens near the village. The butcher was amazed at her question, but he gave her directions to the cave where a large tiger was known to live. Meecha stopped and sat behind a tree a good distance from the mouth of the cave. She didn't see the tiger, but she sat for a while and then left the meat and went home. The next morning, she went again to see the cave, and her heart was beating fast to see the huge beast sleeping in the cave opening. This time, she sat quietly in front of the tree and left the meat. Mi-cha continued to visit the tiger every morning. Each morning, she came a little closer, and each time she would leave some meat. After many weeks of this, Mi-cha and the tiger sat together in front of the cave one morning. The huge cat purred quietly, and Mi-cha reached her hand out to touch the orange and black coat. She felt a twitch when she touched him under the soft fur, but the tiger let her hand remain. Eventually, she could visit and sit by the tiger while he ate the meat that she brought. Finally, it was harvest time, and Mi-cha knew she must get the whisker. While the tiger slept with his head against her leg, she carefully pulled the scissors from her pocket and snipped a whisker. Then she got to her feet and ran all the way to the healer. "I have the whisker! I have the tiger whisker!" she cried as she burst through the door. The old man looked carefully at Mi-cha and what she held in her hand. "How were you able to get it?" he asked with surprise. Mi-cha told him all about the tiger that lived in the cave. She explained how she had to work a little bit each day to win the tiger's trust. As she finished her tale, the old man reached for the tiger whisker and threw it into the fire. Mi-cha gasped in horror. "After weeks of taming the tiger, you threw my only hope into the flames," she cried. The healer gently took her hands and said, "Anyone with the patience to tame a tiger doesn't need a magic potion. Go home and be kind and patient with your cousin as you were with the tiger." As Mi-cha walked home, she thought of her little cousin and the tiger. The tiger had much bigger teeth than her cousin. Perhaps she could be patient. Perhaps she could try to be patient and see what happened. So again, patient. What do you think patience means? For me, it means having a little bit more love and maybe not getting so angry or frustrated when I have to wait or when something is bothering me. Just before I was recording this video, my little dog, I have a little dog and I have two little dogs and a big dog. And my big dog is pretty quiet, but the little dogs tend to bark. And so the big dog is here with me. You can't see her. I'd have to turn the camera around and I can't do that. But the little dog wanted in too. If I brought the little dog in, there was a chance that the little dog was going to bark during this recording. And so he was scratching at the door and I was losing my patience because I was trying to do what I wanted to do right now and the little dog wanted in. So I took a deep breath and I stopped the recording and I put the dog in the other room. But in our story, talked about patience. Mi-cha had to be patient while she waited for that tiger. So I have some questions to ask you guys, aside from what does patience mean? What do you think is the hardest thing about being patient? So I know right now we're all staying inside, so it's probably not so much going to happen. But if you can think about a time, maybe your mom and dad said that they were going to take you out for some ice cream. And it was maybe they said it in the morning, but you weren't going to go until after dinner. So you had to be patient while you waited all day for dinner time to roll around, right? So you could get frustrated or maybe angry, or you could just wait and just go with it. So I think for me, what do you think is the hardest thing about being patient? I think for me is the waiting. I think that's for me. Another question is, what advice would you give to Mi-cha if you could? So I think, again, for me, I think that if she was to teach her little cousin, so this little cousin, he's the littlest one, remember from the story? And he had all these brothers and sisters, at least that's what they said. And she was all by herself. And so she has a chance to just be with one cousin, this little guy, and teach him how to be sweet and kind and patient. And she could share her patient story about the tiger with him, and she could have an opportunity to teach him. So I think if I was to share any advice with Micha, I think I would share that. What would you share? And the last thing is, do you think that the healer was wise? And wise is different than being smart. Being smart is definitely being smart, but being wise is having we talk about that feeling in our bellies and our guts. I think that being wise is having that feeling in your belly. And I think that the healer knew that if he gave Micha a challenge, that she was super smart and super patient, and he knew she would rise to the challenge. At least that's what I think. I think he was pretty wise. What do you guys think? All right, kids. Well, that's our story for this week. And again, the affirmation, I am calm and patient in all I do. So I challenge each one of you guys to recognize when you are being calm and patient. And one last thing I'll leave you with. If you're finding that, when we do the glitter jar and we take deep breaths, and sometimes people say, count to 10. Well, take 10 deep breaths. When you find yourself like that glitter jar, when you find yourself like being impatient, because let's be honest, we all want to go outside and it's just not safe right now. So we're all staying inside. And so we're being patient when it comes to having time to go outside and go play with our friends, right? So we're all being patient right now. And so when you start to feel yourself getting like the glitter jar and you get yourself all mixed up, I challenge you to take 10 deep breaths. Remember how we do it? We smell the flower and we blow the flower. And what's funny is pay attention, because your first breath might be short. But by your 10th breath, I bet if you did 10 breaths, I bet you would go really deep in and really deep back out. All right, kids, I miss you guys and I can't wait to see you. So you be safe and we'll see each other again real soon, okay? And just know that we at Unity Church of Austin, we love you, we miss you. What's our blessing? We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Have a great day, guys.